getting? I think it's because yeah. So it's because of the loop, right? Ideally, the best thing to do is just break out of this loop. But because I'm using a for each, right? Let me just write a normal loop, right? Normal for loop. Let x equal 0, then x less than so basically this is a for loop, right? Um I don't know if you guys have covered this on your own, but what this does is it starts from the zero index. That's why I say let x equal 0. So it's starting from index 0, right? Start counting from 0. So it's then saying if the current index is less than the length. Remember, we start from 0, but then the length of the array is actually 4, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? That's how we count, but we have just 4 items in the array. So 3 is always less than the length of the array. So once we get to index 3, which is less than 4, we'll stop this array. So I can then take this now and copy what I have here, right? And then try to make some changes also. Let's see, index of okay, x, right? So now this is going to be index 0. We are starting from 0. This will be num 0, right? It's 2. Index of results minus x, right? There's probably something I'm missing. Yeah, x. So I should replace this with x. So now I can break out of this loop. Let's see if this works. No, num is not defined. Oh, nums. Sorry. Nums. You know what? Let's not even bother about this stuff, right? Because I think it passes case 1. You know what? Let's go back to the slides. This will take the whole of our time, right? Let's just go back to the slide. So that's an example of a bug. Those are the kind of things you would face, right? Trying to debug. Um, so majorly technical questions, you need your lead code. You need to solve lead code questions. You would get rusty, but it's advisable to just make it something you do maybe weekly, right? Always be ready for interviews, majorly. Then the behavioral questions. This is another very tricky part because I mean there's majorly no yes or no answer when it comes to behavioral questions. Um, and based on how you reply, right, it will determine if you might pass that stage of the interview. It's tricky because I mean there's no system to it, right? It would just ask you for different scenarios and what you would do in that scenario. And if I really don't know how it works on the ground, but then if your response to those scenarios do not meet the kind of person they are looking for, you most likely not progress to the next stage. Then there's company culture. As much as the interviewers would ask you a whole lot of questions, you should also have questions for them, so that you don't end up in a place where your career growth is stunted. Um, because I mean, it's very possible you get to a place and their focus is not actually helping you grow, right? Say for example, you are learning React. You know React. React is what the market wants, but you get to a place and I mean, it's Angular they start using. You know, as much as it is good to know other frameworks, right? What will happen is you you become good at Angular, right? But your React would suffer because you do not even use React professionally. Now becomes like a plan B for you. So that's one part of company culture. There's also the other part, which is maybe the structure of the organization, the kind of projects they are working on, you know. So you also need to have questions for them, right? Networking, strategy building, yeah. I'll say personally, I don't know. I lack in this part, in this aspect also. Um, I I've not been to a whole lot of meetups. I've been to a few, but I think I need to add that to my to dos, right? Um, so they are usually tech meetups. There's this site I use. I think I was introduced to it very early. Let me just look for it here so I can share it to you guys. I think it's called meetup.com. Meetup, meetup.com. Yeah, so meetup.com, right? So in case you are wondering, how do I get to know about meetups around me? So you can just use this site. Let me share with you guys in the group. So if you sign up for this, right, you put your location, they would usually reference, they'll get your location and then use it to show you events happening around, right? So you can see tech meetups happening and all of that. So it's a very helpful site. Okay, so you should always try to connect. LinkedIn, I use Twitter a lot, and I follow a whole lot of tech people on Twitter, right? Most times when I watch a tutorial, I try to look for their Twitter handle or their LinkedIn handle. I just follow them because most of these guys have gems. They always drop gems. Maybe an idea, um, a way to solve a problem, right? Or a new tutorial that they are dropping. So there's this guy I follow now. I think it's Hussein Nasser. I can't remember his name, but I mean on LinkedIn the guy always drops like very important information. Like So yeah, you should try to follow people.
I think his internet tripped off. Um, yeah, I think his internet tripped off. So I've reached out to him again to try and join back. Yeah. So let's just give him a minute or two to join back. I'll dial him in on the normal call to join back. Yeah. But in the meantime, it seems like you don't need our recharge card, right? Um, Three people on this call now can just win extra recharge cards. Just when you follow, just drop a comment on the Brightflare web development that you've followed, then someone will reach out to you to send you a recharge card. It's just like a bonus, whatever. It's more money. But it seems that everybody on this group are big people. How much is recharge card? We can pay for everybody's recharge card on the group. So sorry to disrespect you.
Which of the
Yeah, for
platforms?
those that need to consider it anyways. So let me see. Okay, still offline. So let me call Daniel on normal call. Just let's hold on a minute. If you have questions, you can drop so that when you get on the call, it just answers everybody at once. But in the meantime, please just hold up. So I think I'll just continue from where it stopped. Please just confirm and still see my screen. Just do a thumbs up or drop a comment if you can see my screen. I
Yes,
assume
we
people
can.
can't hear me or see my screen.
We
All
can see
right,
your
nice.
screen. I don't
So
know.
we was talking about networking strategies, building connection in tech community, right? And one way is to attend meetups, conferences, and hackathons, right? There are several conferences for tech guys. DevFest is one of the most popular ones, organized by Google. It's across the whole world. Nigeria alone, there is DevFest Nigeria, there's DevFest Lagos, there's DevFest some part of Lagos. They're first Aja, they're first Yaba, they're first. So it's more like curated for different people in different locations. So you can attend there. The advantage is you get to hear from top guys that are doing great in the industry. You get to connect with people. I remember attending DevFest 2022. That was where I met the organizer of DevFest in Nigeria, one of the organizers. That's it works with is the CTO of in it, right? I met him, I spoke to him, we discussed, so you get to meet top guys like that. There are also another advantage is you get to win swags. That one is interesting. You get shirts, get bags, get stuffs like that. They have most companies have their stand where you can go ask questions. This is what we do. This is what we're trying to do. Companies come talk about what they do. I remember in 2023, day first I was there, and Postman came to Nigeria. The representative of Postman spoke to us about the new features. We're one of the first people to hear about Postman integration um, into what's the name? Into VS Code, right? So yeah, you get to meet people, you get to meet your other colleagues that are doing great stuff. That was where I met a 12-year-old girl that could write JavaScript well. That baby won maybe 50,000 or something. So you get to meet people that challenge you. Also, connecting with professionals on LinkedIn is very important. Identify, this is an assignment, identify people that are in your niche, go and search for them on LinkedIn and follow them, right? For some of them, what I did in 2020, when I was still more like finding my feet, I would identify like 20 people in my niche. I followed them. I always engage their posts. So that's one thing again. Someone does not know you, you are just sending them DM, they will not answer you. So what I started with was I would engage their post. When they post something, I will like it, I'll comment it. And one of these days, when I started looking for a job, I just messaged one of them that hi, my name is blah 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 blah. Because he has been seeing my comments and my likes, so he responded immediately. Another friend of mine that I've been messaging him for months, he did not respond. He responded immediately, I've been seeing your blah 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 blah. And that was how he helped me and all that. So build connection with people, let it be beyond what you get from them, right? To help you. You can engage them in this discussion. I remember connecting with someone in the US and I was asking the person that um how is the tech ecosystem over there? How is the job market over there? I told him then that, oh, if you have opportunities for me, I shared my portfolio with him, right? I'll show you why you need a portfolio in the next slide. Then that helps. So join online forums and communities to related to front end. It's very important. There are several forums on Slack. There are communities you can join. There are WhatsApp group. As I'm talking to you, I'm on like 10 WhatsApp group for devs. So that's where we get jobs. And that's why I also suggest to you that you don't leave the Brightflare group after this free training, right? For as many people that will not be able to afford the cost of attending a paid class, we'll keep on posting updates on the group like internship, job tips, projects you can work on, connection. We'll still be holding webinars, so we'll be bringing top guys to come talk to you, both within and outside Nigeria. There's one holding on the 1st of March. We are bringing in someone from the UK who is currently working as a software engineer in Amazon. Yes, Amazon. That's one of the fans. And guess what? He didn't study computer science in school. He studied law. Just imagine a art student switching to software development and landing a job in Amazon. That says a lot. The other person is studied geology in school or hydrology, sorry, in school. And now he's a technical project manager and I've worked with one of the biggest brands in Nigeria career wise and also it's possible. So these are the communities like you, like Brightflare is a community now. You get to meet people like me You might not get to see me physically, but at least you can connect and you can see. That's very important. So next slide. Yes, personal brand building, portfolio, GitHub, and online presence. That's also very, very important. You'll be shocked. There are people that don't know half of what you know and are working in all these top companies. When I joined Stanbic Bank was when I knew that it's not by just what you know alone. What you know is very important, but it's beyond that. Oh, sorry, to our international audience. What I'm trying to say is that um, it's beyond what you know. It's also about how you brand yourself, right? Your portfolio. Have you built a portfolio website before? How does it look like? 2 days ago, I was looking at the first portfolio website I built, and I was just laughing, right? And that's what I shared and what I used to get my first internship. So branding is important. Don't say GitHub, right? Push your code to GitHub. Ensure that at least you are updating your GitHub. Fork repositories that can help you learn. I think when I first started coding, one of the fastest way that I grew was I just randomly go and search for these guys that follow, these guys that are good. People like, for example, our tutor, Ade Shina Oluwa. You can see his GitHub, see some of his personal projects that are public. So GitHub, I would have said I should show you GitHub, but that time is almost up. It's almost 1 o'clock. I would have said I should show you my GitHub, right? What I did then was that I just followed those guys that are very good. So when they build a project, I get notification, I see their projects. I try to replicate. That was part of one of the things that helped me go fast. Then I also joined a community. The goal was for me to even get the internship and be collecting dollars. So there's Outreach. You can search for Outreach. They pay $7,000 for people to contribute to open source. There is this other one I'm trying to remember that I joined in, right? We had opportunity to contribute to Python as a language, to contribute to language and Java as a language, look for bugs and solve them. So these are the things that help you, right? Building brand, online presence. Some people have not checked their LinkedIn in a year and you want to be known. Let people know you for what you do. Once in a while, post something about what you are learning. There's a lady in the QA class. She tagged Brightflare technology last week. So she was talking about her experience so far. Before now, she didn't understand how to test. She was having issues testing, but after the second class, she understood better and love her progress, the progress she has made so far. So stuff like that. Some companies will sit and like, oh, this girl, okay, maybe we can send her DMs for internship. So let me shock you guys. There was a point where I just started learning. Let me tell you the importance of online presence. I won't mention the year, but part of when I was just started coding, right? Amazon reached out to me twice because of my online presence, because of what I used to post. They assumed this guy is very good, and they didn't know that I just package myself well. As at that time, Amazon Poland reached out to me. Then Amazon was coming to Nigeria then to pick people. They reached out to me. I did the interview, even though I did not pass the third stage, but it was a good experience. So that's what online presence can do. Most times I don't try to apply for a job like that. People reach out to me via LinkedIn. Why? Because they see my work, they see what I do. So that's one way to also put yourself out there. A day in the life of a front-end engineer. I don't think, let me confirm if our guys on the call back. You can just share one or two things before the call ends. Yeah, it's back. So let me just stop here so I can continue. But our time is up already. But yeah, you can just continue.
Sorry guys, I my internet tripped off, and that's why it dropped off for a while. But yes, you've been in capable hands. So a day in the life. So first, you it depends on where you work and the structure, right? For me, I try as much as possible to start my day looking at what I've done the day before, right? Um, on a personal note, before I even start to take meeting calls, I try to review what I've done the previous day. There are days whereby I don't even have time to do that because there's probably a bug that I've been trying to fix the previous day, and then I have to like start my day with that. So there's really no structure to it most times, right? When I have the time, I do a review of the previous day and then I start my day's work. But most times I'm just battling bugs that I need to fix and get it sorted. Then yeah, you would mostly start with your stand-ups. If if you have daily stand-ups, right? Usually your stand up to be in the morning, right, with your team members, where you talk about what you did the previous day, what you are planning to do that day. If there are blockers, right? So it's always advisable to let your team know when you have blockers, when there are bugs. You have to inform the team so that they can manage expectations, right? And there's one very key thing that I think I struggled with is managing expectations, right? The non-technical guys, the managers, they will usually have very tight deadlines, right? So the first thing you should do is set a deadline that um so it's you under promise and over deliver. That's it, right? You don't try to stifle yourself. Try to understand the tasks end to end, right? Know the dependencies, and do not be put in a corner when you're setting deadlines, right? Because at the end of the day, right, you to be a case of, oh, you were the one that agreed to this timeline. So yeah, it's just on a side note, always under promise and over deliver. So mornings are usually for team meetings, planning your day. Afternoons, depending on where you work, because I always have to state this, um, and maybe your role. Majorly as a junior, you might spend it maybe doing peer reviews, peer code reviews with maybe a more senior developer, um, or in a meeting. Yeah, depending on where you work, you might be in a meeting talking about new features, sprint planning. Um, but it's always advisable to use afternoons to work, like do proper work, right? It's always difficult, but it's always advisable to use it to do proper work. Then evenings, yeah, I think evenings work is always less stressful in the evening, most times, right? So it's always advisable to just try to round up what you're working on that day in the evening, right? So you don't have tasks carrying over. If you can, right, try to use your evening to do a wrap up of what you're working on. If you finished working on it, you can just try to look for ways to make it more professional. So there's something called um, clean code, right? Uh, you might not need to follow all of the rules of writing clean codes, but at least, right, once you feel like you've finished working on a feature, try to make it look better for other developers that would work on it later on in the future. Um, so majorly, that's like a day in the life for me personally. That's how I work. Um, this is not set in stone; it changes, right? Um, and also, you can use your evenings for personal development because I mean, it's not just enough to work to focus on your work, right? It's also good to take time out, mostly in the evenings, to do a bit of personal development, read that book, continue from where you stopped in the course, whatever course you're working on, you're watching. Just do a bit of personal development to go a long way, right? Don't just spend all your time working. Oh, I'm working on this project at work. It's always difficult, right? To be sincere, it's always very hard, but just try. Okay, I'm watching a course now. I need to finish this course. Right? I can just use my evenings for that. And also, it's very important. Please, there are times you just need to know code, right? Do every other thing you enjoy. Once it's evening, watch a series, go and play football, go and meet up with people. It's always very hard. I won't lie, it is hard. I won't lie to you. It is very hard. But please have a life outside it. It helps you be all round, right? Just helps you be an all round person, essentially. Um, So what next? Let's just round it up. I think Wale, can you move to the next slide? So we just round this up. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so okay,
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
yeah, okay. I don't know if Wale can hear me. Do you guys have access to this slide?
No.
Okay, I'll share it in the group. I'll
No, it's
share it
not
in the
there
group
on the
after.
platform.
Yeah, I'll share it. I'll share it. Don't worry. Um, well, let me try to share my screen. What's disabled? I'll need Wale. Sorry, give me a minute. Let me just. Uh, okay. Um, so the last slide says action plan. Your next steps into front end development. So this is like look at it like your 5 year plan or something, right? What you want to do in the next, where you want to be in the next 5 years, right? But now you are starting out. So the first thing you need to do is understand the language you're working with. First, I advise people to know the basics as much as well as they need to, right? Once you know the basics of anything, every other thing will be easier, right? Try as much as possible to know the basics. Go as deep as you can. Don't just know it on the surface, right? So this Hussein Nasser guy that I was talking to you guys about, he said something. He said he doesn't like to think of things like a black box, right? What is a black box? Your TV. You are looking at your TV right now. It's just showing pictures, right? Every other thing happening, you don't. I'm not saying you should go and know what is happening inside your TV, but I'm just saying that it's a black box. It's an abstraction. You just know that okay, my TV is showing pictures, it's showing things, right? And let me just leave it at that. You're going to face a lot of issues where you not knowing how something works is going to affect how fast you can debug or how fast you can suggest, okay, this is what is wrong. So I always advise people to know things, just know it, right? It sets you apart, it gives you an edge. Even in interviews, when you talk, people will be like, okay, this guy is quite knowledgeable. Yeah, that's what will majorly set you apart, right? Do you know how the internet works? When you type go.com, for people that like football like me, what happens behind the scenes, right? How does your browser load a web page, right? It's always good to know these things early. How does JavaScript really work under the hood? Just try to know things. Don't think of things in black boxes. It's going to stifle your development, right? Always be curious. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. In this case, curiosity doesn't kill the cat. It doesn't. Just be curious. Okay, this React safe, how does it really work under the hood? Let me try to find out. Right? It might not be obvious, but your growth at that point is exponential. if you know the in-depth of how React or JavaScript works, to set you apart, because a whole lot of people, and I'm not even kidding, a whole lot of your colleagues that you later get to work with, you realize that okay, yeah, this person probably doesn't understand this in depth. But I mean, it doesn't mean you should feel any way superior. I mean, I'm just saying that. I mean, you get to meet people that probably don't know that much, right? And it will set you apart. Yeah. And when you then you're on LinkedIn or Twitter, and you're discussing, people would see that okay, this person is quite knowledgeable, and you can really engage in discussions, right? So please try to know things in depth. Don't always assume. Don't think of black boxes. It's really not good. Start building projects. Showcase your skills on GitHub. I think the last class I talked about GitHub is very important. Push things to GitHub. Your GitHub repo needs to be a living document, right? Push projects to it. No matter how small the project is. A whole lot of people have projects that are not complete, including me, right? I just build something and I get stuck somewhere, or I just life just happens and I leave it and I start working on something else. That's how it's going to be. Trust me, that's how it's going to be. But just build the project. It showcases your skills. It shows that okay, this person has been trying, right? This person has been at least contributing. There's open source contribution. I heard Wale talking about it here. So it's another level. For beginners, it's harder because you are still trying to find your feet. You're still trying to figure out how the technology works. And open source can be a bit scary, right? I mean, I tried it once. I won't lie, I've not really contributed to a whole lot of open source. And I've not really had time to go back. Maybe that's one of the things I need to do this year also, contribute to open source. So just no matter how little. So the funny thing is contributing to open source is not hard, right? There are projects where I used to have a site. I might try to think of it or look for it. So there are sites that will just want you to change a color or something, or just do a CSS change. Trust me, that is open source contribution, right? If you see a bug that okay, this text is not aligned on one page, right? You can just create an issue, right? And ask to fix it. It might just be a CSS change, it might just be an HTML change. It's still open source contribution, right? No matter how small it is, right? And you can also Google about open source contributions too, right? So um, network with industry professionals and attend relevant events. I can't emphasize this enough. What networking does is, I mean, getting a job. Network with okay, so don't network with the intention of just getting from people, because most people will see through you and be like, okay, just network like okay, you're talking to a fellow professional, you are trying to engage with a fellow professional, right? And when it's sincere, it's easier for people to want to like, okay, there's this job, or I have this opening in my organization, or alpha, are you available? I've gotten jobs that way, right? There's a UI guy I met um some time ago, right? And when he had an opening in his organization, he reached out to me and I got the job. I mean, there are jobs that you not, even if it's on LinkedIn or something, referrals, right, would get you the job faster. If you know someone that knows someone, right, to get, but don't go with the mindset of it's just what I can get right from this person. Just network with an open mind that okay, this is a fellow professional. I'm just talking and trying to get to know people, right? Um, Attend relevant events. There are a lot of tech events across the year. You can use the meetups.com also. If maybe you're not really outgoing on all of that. But I mean, if you're on Twitter, if you're following people on Twitter, um, professionals, Twitter Nigeria has a couple of them. There's Axe Sultan. A lot of you guys might know him. Follow guys like that. You get information about events happening around you. And I think he even does this free laptops too, right? You can just search for him on Twitter, Ask Sultan. I follow him also. So there are a couple of people also you can follow, you know, so that you can know what's happening in the tech space, especially in Nigeria and Lagos. I mean, we are in Lagos, most of us. I think most of us are. Wherever you are, right, there's probably a tech event happening there. So just try to get information about it, and you know, that's majorly it. So let me not take too much of you guys' time. I think with that we've come to the conclusion of today's session, right? So please, guys, if you have any more questions, you can just ask on the group, right? Or ask here if I can quickly answer you. Right? So, are there questions? Okay, I think we don't have questions. Um, so, guys, I think we've come to the end of today's session. Please, just I'll drop the slide in the group. So please just look through these things and try to action them. Um, join platforms, join online platforms, network, keep learning, try to understand things basic level. Always try to understand. Do not assume black box. Do not deal with black boxes, right? Always try to know why something works, how it works. You know, it gives you an edge. So I think that's all. So thank you guys. I hope to see you guys very soon. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.